Right, good afternoon, everybody. Can I get a thumbs up from everybody online that you can hear me? Yep, lovely. Thank you, Pat. So here we are again. Thank you very much. Wednesday afternoon, and we're can't quite believe it. We're on the last session, module 8. So we're going to kick off because it's quite a tight, packed schedule today. So I think Alec will continue to keep letting people in as we go on. And Pete is having a little bit of a rest today from facilitating, and he's going to do the slides for me. Or as he put it, he's going to be Chris Whitty for today. Yeah. Next slide, please. Yeah. So talking of which, next slide, please, Pete. Lovely. So here's the agenda for today. As I said, it's quite packed, so we're going to keep it quite tight to time. We'll start off with a bit of a recap of the last 7 weeks and have a quick look at what we've covered. Then we're going to move on to the idea canvas, and hopefully you all received this last week attached to the email that Alex sent out. In your breakout groups, you'll be given a little bit of time. So if you can move to the next slide, Pete, and I'll show you. No, sorry, next one after that. Next one. Next one. That's it. So you'll be given the idea canvas and you'll be doing pitches. Now we've called it pitches. It's actually just really talking through those idea canvas that hopefully you filled out during the week. Just talk them through. You'll have 5 minutes each roughly, and then there'll be a few minutes for sort of questions and answers. I've just seen Millie's question, or not a question, please excuse the bad lighting. All right, okay, that's Millie in Thailand. But, her lighting's bad, not ours. I thought it was ours. Right, so could you go back to the agenda again, please, Pete? Lovely, thank you. So yeah, breakout groups for roughly an hour, just under an hour. Then we will come out of the breakout groups to talk a little bit about the enterprise aims and SMART objectives and what we mean by those. Back into breakout groups where we'll do some facilitation and some coaching and helping you fill out those enterprise action growth plans. When we've done that, we will look at the competition, answer any questions you've got. Going to go through a few alternative funding streams that might be open to you, and then finally talk about some of the ongoing support that's available to you all as well. Okay, so next slide, please. Thank you. So where are we up to today? We've done storytelling, tear it apart, as soon as, research, thick skin, utilize people, put it to the test, and we're now today looking at the enterprise planning, as I said, asking for help, getting some support from colleagues today in the breakout groups, and obviously following on from today there'll be more support available as well. But today really is all about supporting you complete your enterprise action growth plan and understanding where it is you want to be going after today. Okay, thank you. So what have we done so far? We've had 7 inspirational speakers. I think you'll all agree we've had some fantastic speakers come in, generously giving their time to us. So I put it all on one slide. Normally, obviously, you wouldn't put this much information on one slide, but I just wanted to get across the point of how much we've covered over the last few weeks. I won't go through everything there, but it's worth you reflecting on all the different skills and competencies that the speakers have mentioned and their own experience with them as well. Okay, thank you. So this is the idea canvas. As I said, hopefully you've all had a chance to look at it, fill it in, and you'll be able to talk around it. It's not, you know, a strict pitch. We're not being strict on what you've got to cover. It's for you to begin really to get your words around and begin to verbalize what it is that you want to get out of this whole program. Okay. And what sort of things will it be changing? Who is it that you want to talk to? What do you want them to know? What do you feel? What do you want them to be doing? Okay, and crucially, what your next step is. Okay, what is it that you should be doing to make change? Next slide, please, Pete. So, as I said, we're going to go into breakout groups in a moment, and it says here, you are the speakers. It's all about you. All right, so the first exercise is to pitch or talk about your idea canvas in your groups. You will have somebody in your group to help you do that. And there'll be, as it says here, some coaching questions around your action planning. Does anybody have any questions that they want answered before we go into any groups at all for this? Has anybody not had the idea canvas? No. Hopefully then, what we'll do, we will go straight into breakout groups and get you talking about your idea canvas in those groups. Right, hi everybody, sorry about that. We've got a noisy bunch in the room today. Right, I think we're all back from breakout rooms, and I don't know about you guys, but I thought that was fantastic. We had a group of 7 people here who are still talking because there's so much to learn from each other. That's right. I found that absolutely brilliant, and hearing the different ideas and hearing how much they've come on in the last few weeks and where everybody's going with their ideas and the comments and the sharing and the suggestions were absolutely fantastic. So I'm going to throw this on the other facilitators now. And has anybody got anything they would like to feedback about what they thought about the pitches or the talking about ideas? Pete.
In the interest of feedback, I shall come over here. No, so we had some great conversations. We had Millie, who is using her experience to look at a disabled range, particularly around makeup and beauty, but about making it accessible for all and really thinking about a lot of the different aspects. She'd done an enormous amount of marketing work, which is fantastic. Alexandro was looking at a music website, and there was some real interaction on people demonstrating some of his likely part competitors. Bianca's doing something on social enterprise front around old people. Johnny's looking at trying to make it possible for people who do translation degrees to actually get jobs within the company he wants to form and make it easier for them to feel part of the company and everything else. And Kimberly was taking a whole new approach to business support post-pandemic and people having better life balance, probably the short version. But yeah, some great conversations.
Thank you, Pete. Yeah, really great ideas coming through. I don't know who put their hand up in which order, so I'm going to go from the top. Pat.
Thank you very much, Linda. I'm not going to name everybody that was in the group, but I'll give an overview that it's very interesting to see the ideas, even though people have thought they've only just got an idea, they've actually thought far more around it than they've realised, and that they're further along than they might have thought about as well. There's a lot around looking at different ways to use apps. So technology and technical things is something that's being looked at and considered. And what I found interesting was the fact that we had ideas that was going to help locally and ideas that would help globally. And I think that kind of juxtaposition of something quite on a smaller scale and then something that could be making a difference in Africa as a continent, these are fascinating. All wanted to make a difference in some way or another. All had recognised that they wanted to make a difference. So yes, it was fascinating. I'm grateful for everyone in that group that shared their ideas and gave supportive ideas to those that were in the group. Thank you.
Thanks, Pat. Brilliant. Yeah, there was definitely a similar theme in the room here: positive impact, making a change, and have positive effect for people. Chris.
Hello. So I was in group 2, Go Group 2. We had a great session. Everybody contributed. Everyone had a very different idea. I think what was really interesting about the group was everyone had a very different business idea, and at very different stages of maturity in that business idea. But what was common between everybody was looking for where they add their value. So there's the classic value chain. What starts you going, what your inputs, how do you transform that and add the value, and then when do you hand it off. And in every case there was a real discussion around how that individual or that team was going to produce the transformation to create the value, and that was common across all 5 of the people in my group. So really interesting. That model held throughout, and some really fascinating ideas. I like Pat. We're not name all the people in the group and talk about their ideas, but I thought it was really great how much contribution we had, and I think some really interesting business propositions.
Thank you, Chris. Cheers. Thank you for that. Mohammed, anything for your group?
Yeah, thank you, Linda. So for our group, we were breakout room 1, and we had the likes of, I just seen on the chat, Chris is brilliant. I've got some pressure then. Go on group 1, give me some comments as well. No, so we had Kofi and K-Dong Vicky Warida and Mohammed, Nur Zaman as well. Again, very different ideas. There was a lot of discussion going on, questions and answers. So people were pitching their ideas, lots of good questions of trying to unpick people's ideas and the clarity around it. Everybody was given the task of perhaps trying to create a strap line or something that they would be able to explain on a tweet or something, because, you know, there's a lot of ideas and then you need to narrow that down. And when you narrow it down, it becomes more clear to you, it becomes clear to your customers or clients. So we had Goffy, who was thinking of a great idea of how to plant more trees and make it renewable to help release more oxygen into the environment. And he was thinking of a particular type of tree that you can utilize it for its seeds, and there's a lot of uses for it. And then that would go on to fund the project. That was more of a global project, starts off local in Ghana, and then can work globally. Mohammed Zaman, if you don't mind me saying, wanted to affect a project or start up a project which is similar to KFC, but in Bangladesh as well, because he's seen a gap in the market. And he was talking about how he's already gone through the process of actually creating a business plan, etc. Kedong talked about technical consulting company, which was more services and risks management as well. Some good questions around then in how he would promote his business and his services, unlike promoting products, but promoting more his services. Vicky, good idea about formal and sophisticated clothing to make young women feel confident. We talked about, you know, materials of clothing, etc. And if I could say in open, you know, things like people do not consider, you know, women with special requirements, like, you know, women in, you know, going through menopause, etc. as well. You know, real, you know, good ideas there about how, you know, you can capture a part of the market. So that was about clothing. And then we had Warida, who talked about a platform that matches designers to manufacturers. Warida's already worked with folks in, you know, in different places like the Middle East, etc. as well. And we were just about to create a business idea between two people, and we ran out of time. So there might be a real business coming from Group 1. Remember that, everybody.
Thank you, Mohammed. We will give you the credit for that. Chris, is your hand up from last time, or did you want to add anything?
I do apologise, I failed to lower my own hand, so I will do that now. Done.
No, that's fine. Thank you, Chris. Didn't want to miss anything that you wanted to add. Wow, so many amazing ideas. Thank you, everybody. And it sounds like everybody really joined in and hopefully got real value from everybody else's comments, suggestions. And yeah, if we get some collaborations through that, then even better. Right, so moving on to the next exercise. If you could do that. Oh, thank you, Peter, already. Slide is there as I talk. The next breakout session is actually going to really drill down now to your own individual enterprise growth action plan. And we want you to start looking at your enterprise aims and objectives. And I know some of you already included these in the pitch that you gave just now, looking at sort of short-term, medium-term and long-term objectives. But in order to get the help with that, what we're going to suggest is that we have sort of 20 minutes or so of you working in breakout groups, but individually with your facilitator there on hand to answer any questions. So you can either sort of sit quietly and just work on your own script, so to speak, or you can be talking to your facilitator about questions and getting their advice on it. Pete's very kindly suggested some examples of the types of things that we'll be looking for in order to help you with your aims and objectives. We want you to make them smart, so we want them to be specific, measurable, action-based, relevant, and time-framed. Okay, so one suggestion here is by December 2023, I want Smiths Clothing to be the #1 I can't see it in there, the #1 sustainable and ethical clothing brand in Hampshire. So a really nice, smart objective there. Another example, if you're not looking at actually building a business, could be by this time next year, I want to have taken the risk and launched my own research methodology for peer review. Okay, next slide. I think we've got some more on there, haven't we, Pete? So by December 2023, I want to have used my enterprising skills to be in a new job that I enjoy, working in retail. So again, just being more enterprising in your own life. And then by December 2023, I want Bags for Soil to be the leading food growth enterprise in Portsmouth. So yeah, they're all completely fictitious. Pete has completely made them up, but they're examples of some really nice, smart objectives and how you can move yourselves forward. The 3-month objective one, so what we want you to do is to clearly write down and have reviewed with colleagues and friends my value proposition or pitch. So what Bags for Soil is here for. So why is Bags for Soil here? So by 3 months' time, my short-term objective, that's what I will have done. And then by 12 months, I say I will attend 10 online and in-person networking events to tell people about Bags for Soil. So that's about planning ahead, looking at the next 12 months, what relevant networking events are there for me to attend, and I'm going to go to them and tell everybody about my business, Bags for Soil. And then the objective 3, for example, in 24 months, I will have pulled together a clear written marketing plan on paper of how Bags for Soil will recruit its 100 members. Okay, so it doesn't have to be long-winded. It doesn't have to be really, really complicated. The objectives just need to be really simple and very smart. Okay, thank you, Pete. Okay, so I think, yeah, what we'll do is we'll move back into breakout groups. Please do take the opportunity to have a quick break if you're online, and the same here if you need to have a quick break, but then do come back to your breakout groups and start working on those enterprise growth action plans. But your facilitators will be there for any questions that you've got. Right, okay, I think we're ready again at this end. So hopefully you're all back out your breakout rooms. And again, that was really, really interesting to see people's ideas really being pulled together on the action growth plan and objectives being drawn up for short, medium, long term. If you haven't had chance to go through it or sit down and talk to somebody and you would like to, please don't worry, because there will be opportunities after the programme to contact us and sit down with one of us and ask any questions you've got. Right, onto the competition, which hopefully we're hoping that many of you will enter. There are 4 categories, of which they are the most improved enterpriser or enterprising individual, the most innovative enterprise idea, the fastest growth enterprise idea, and the most compelling social enterprise idea. So when you've submitted your growth action plan, we will then categorize the applications into the different groups from there. So you don't need to worry. If you want to make it really clear, actually, yeah, this is social enterprise, which we would expect to do so anyway, then that's great. If you want to make it clear which category you feel you fall into, that's fine, but you don't have to at all. The deadline is 5 p.m. on Monday, May the 9th. Yeah. Okay, so if we don't have it by then, unfortunately, you will be too late. The details are on the website. There's lots of information on the main enterprise programme website as to the judging criteria. Basically, the applications will be assessed against the overarching themes of the whole programme. But if you do want more details, I suggest you go and have a look on the website. Okay. Yeah, Pete's got something to add on that.
Beg pardon. 2 things that came up in my group. So some people have already sent their growth action plans over to Alec. And said, oh, after today's session, I'd like to do things a little bit differently. That's fine. If you want to do that, just make sure you send it by the May the 9th, and we'll use your most up-to-date one. And then somebody else in my group said they've written some confidential things in their enterprise growth plan. We would dearly like to see your growth plans, because for next year, we'd like to see how they've been used and how useful they are. However, if that is the case and you just want to send us section 3 onward, you can do. But ideally, we'd like to see the whole thing. But if you've done it a bit confidential, or you think it's commercially sensitive, then just send section 3 onward, and we'll use that to do it. So there's just 2 questions that came up.
Thank you, Pete. Probably got time for a couple of questions if people do have any burning questions they want to ask while we're here. If not, you can email afterwards and we'll answer them. Wait to see anybody. Anybody raising a hand? Nope. Okay, all right then. So if we move on and look at what the prize for the competition actually includes, So there are various elements to the prize. You will be given a membership of our Help to Grow community, which Pete and Pat and their team work on, which includes exclusive access to business events and the university's annual Contemporary Business Conference. So that's rather exclusive. For that, you will also receive direct support from the Portsmouth Business School on any topic. Any questions as they arise via Pat Smith. Hopefully you all know Pat by now. She's been with us every week since the beginning, our small business manager. You'll also receive a dedicated free desk for 1 year at Halpin House, one of our Innovation Connect centres. So again, fantastic to be able to have that. You'll get access to a wide range of dedicated support, resources and events from us in the student startup team. And the big one, of course, up to £3,000 grant to kickstart the next stage of your enterprise journey, as you've hopefully will show in your personal growth action plan. And it is up to £3,000. Don't feel you have to apply for the full £3,000 if you only need 1,500. Okay, so next slide. Thank you, Pete. Obviously, sadly, we'd love to be able to give everybody some money to help them, but not everybody's going to win the prize. So we just thought we'd cover just other opportunities for you to access funding. A few ideas for you. On April the 26th, the next University Student Startup and Santander grant competition opens. It's only open for a really short window this time, basically because we managed to give away an awful lot in the first round in autumn. So there's a few £1,000s left. On April the 26th, that'll open. It'll close on May the 8th. So either contact us at studentstartup@port.ac.uk or have a look at the Student Startup website. It will give you lots of information there. You can apply for, again, up to £3,000 on that one, and it is grant again. There's also the government startup loan scheme. If you're looking for up to £25,000, anywhere from, I think it's £500 to £25,000, you can access one of these startup loans. It's 6% interest rate. They're run, as it says here, by the government, but looked after and facilitated through other organisations. For example, Virgin Startup look after one of those loan schemes. You also get mentoring associated with that as well. Innovate UK Smart Grants, these are more often than not match funded, but they are for sort of up and coming areas, high growth areas, AI, and a lot of sort of the more tech side of things. But it's definitely worth having a look at their website, seeing what's available at the moment. In terms of crowdfunding, Portsmouth City Council have partnered with Crowdfunders UK and are now doing match funding for any businesses that want to be or be based in the Portsmouth area. So it's £5,000 match funding. If you can raise £5,000, Portsmouth City Council will match £5,000 for that as well. So another one worth looking at. Then you've got other ideas like the peer-to-peer business loans. Funding Circle was the first one to do that. Family and friends, always a good one, comes with a few notes of caution, asking family and friends for money, obviously. Don't go asking family and friends who can't afford to risk their money. Always get contracts in place. Just because you think they're family and friends doesn't mean you need to forget the legalities. There are general competitions out there. Again, on the Student Startup website, there's always competitions open for you to raise a few £1,000s. And of course, angel investors and venture capitalists are there as well for sort of the more established businesses. But you've got lists there. You just click on those lists when you get the presentation, and you'll be able to see lists of UK angel investors and the British Venture Capital Association as well. Obviously, that's just a few, but there are lots of opportunities for other funding schemes. We thought we'd just give you a few bits of information, heads up there. Okay, right, next one. Right, moving on to sort of how we're going to support you and what the next steps for us as a team now really are. We're not just going to leave you to get on with it yourselves. So the first Wednesday of every month until July, you will be able to book an appointment to speak to one of the team about any questions you've got at all to do with your enterprise or anything you've learned on the programme or your business and how you can take it forward. So the dates are all here. You just need to email Alec at the normal email address to book an appointment. Obviously, the first one, 4th of May, is before the deadline for that competition. So if you want more help with completing your Enterprise Growth Action Plan, then be worth seeing if you can book an appointment on that 4th of May afternoon. Okay, thank you. Online, ideally online, but if you want to see us face to face, I'm sure we can manage that as well, whichever works for all of us really. Thank you. So in terms of other support available, obviously we've got the student startup support, resources, events. So we can put you in touch with IP lawyers. You can have sort of 30 minutes free expert advice from an IP lawyer. You can have accountancy advice free of charge. There's all sorts of different elements that you can access, as well as our events that we run as well. So it's worth getting in touch with us. Again, if you've got any questions or you just want to see if you can access any expert advice. You've also got Pete and Pat's team, the Small Business Support Services. I know we have a newsletter that goes out telling you all about how you can access support through the university as well. So if you want to sign up to that, do let Pat, well, probably Alec know, email Alec. And then the next slide, I think, is Chris's slide. Did you want to talk through this, Chris?
Yes, I'm going to say a few words. So we have a building. We have a dedicated floor for students to work on and work from. So we've got desking, university IT equipment. So often it's not the case you're running your business all the time. You want to go in and out of study. We've got support from the team there. You can register your business with Companies House and HMRC at that address, which is part of any sort of incorporation you might want to do, or creating a limited company. We've got free tea and coffee, and we've also got a new meeting pod on the second floor, which is actually quite nice. It's got sort of screens and sort of a little bit of soundproofing in there. So that's a new addition which moved over a couple of weeks ago. It's free for students to use to grab a desk there. So if anybody wants to get in touch, Innovation Connect at port.ac.uk comes through to myself and my team. And if you just want to have a little look around, see what it's like, then that's not a problem at all. If you want to do some work, that'll be great too. So we welcome you into the space. Thank you, Linda.
Thanks, Chris. And finally, a note about mentors. We are aware, obviously, that not everyone was able to be matched with a mentor in the end, but hope you understand, as a pilot, we did try, and we will continue trying to match people. But please don't feel, as I said, that we're going to leave you to it now. There is so much support there for you. So do get in touch if you've got any questions or you're struggling with anything at all. And finally, a great big thank you to all of you guys, because as you know, as I said, it was a pilot. You've come along every week. Hopefully you've got real value out of it. And I've just noticed that Alexandru's got his hand up. So having said a great big thank you, I'm just going to hand over to Alexandru. Did you want to say something?
Hi, yeah, I just had a question from earlier. You said about the other forms of support. Is the Santander's program still open for graduates as well? Is it open just for people still studying?
Yeah, Alexandru, it is open for graduates up to 5 years. So I think you're eligible for it. I should have said, sorry, yeah, students and graduates up to 5 years can access or apply for that Santander grant funding.
That's brilliant. Where can I find more details about that?
Okay, right. I feel I've rushed through that last bit, but hopefully you've all got the information, and you've definitely got Alex's email, so you'll be able to contact him. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you to all the facilitators. And I think also a great big thank you to Alec, because he's done a lot of the admin behind the work, behind the field on this. So thank you, Alec. And thank you to all of you guys. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank
you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.